Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So the discussions about Tank and Ryan Garcia are continuing, but I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do your own due diligence to go look at different articles and videos on it. But I'm going to bring a video to you today to kind of talk about a few things that we really need to just underscore, because for some reason there are fans, because of Ryan Garcia's performance against Fortuna, feeling that Ryan Garcia would beat Tank Davis. Now, anything can happen in a boxing match, right? But that's as far as I'm going to go with that, okay? So let's understand, Ryan Garcia, I think the reason why some people are giving him a chance to win is because of the amateur pedigree. 215 wins, 15 losses. He won a lot of titles as an amateur. Ryan Garcia has the background to really continue to do well in the sport of boxing, just not against Tank Davis. When it comes to Tank, amateur record, 206 wins, same amount of losses. Again, Tank has proven himself. Now, we talk about resumes. Neither one of them have what I would say like standout resumes, because Tank Davis and his team is managing him a kind of way to where he's not getting into super risky fights, but he's picking the right opponents with the right credibility at the right time, with the minimizing the risk, okay? But when he took on Barrios, I would say that was a high-risk fight. But other than that, Tank Davis is pretty much, they've been very strategic about who they put him in the ring with. Even with Barrios, they were very strategic about that fight. Now, Ryan Garcia is a professional, 23 wins, 19 KOs now. Ryan Garcia has the big left hook. He has extreme speed. So you got to give him credit for that. Had the big win against Luke Campbell, which was absolutely amazing. After that, he kind of fizzled out. Now he seems to be resurrecting his career, getting himself back in position where he was before he had the mental health crisis. Tank Davis, pro record, 27 wins, 27 wins, 25 knockouts, no losses. Both of them, amazing fighters. But we just have to understand a few things, okay? So, although Ryan Garcia fought Javier Fortuna on DAZN on July 16th, and that was really him continuing his comeback after fighting the experienced Ghanaian Tagao at 139-pound catchweight. That's something I don't think a lot of people realize. Ryan Garcia, when he fought the Ghanaian, he fought at a catchweight of 139 pounds. Now, in that fight, Ryan Garcia, to me, was trying to fight like Canelo. On the front foot, coming forward, jumping in, throwing wild shots. He was more focused on the crowd and trying to get a knockout against somebody who just wasn't going to move. And Ryan Garcia just never accepted that and changed up the strategy to try to outbox him and set up shots. It was more just trying to go full steam ahead and beat Canelo. And that's where I think Ryan Garcia was kind of caught in between the Reynoso training camp mentality and the Joe Goosen training camp mentality, and Ryan Garcia's own mentality of what he thinks he should or shouldn't do, or what will or won't work in a fight. As a result, he got the win. Performance was lackluster, in my opinion, but he came back against Javier Fortuna, and he did look a bit more refined, a bit more polished, and he looked like he's ready to go on and increase his level of competition. Not necessarily against Tank Davis, okay? So I just want to make that clear. Now, there's been rumors, man, for the last couple of years, Tank and Garcia have been trying to work out a fight. Tank blames Garcia, Garcia blames Tank. So it is what it is. But if you talk about Canelo Alvarez and his opinion, remember, Canelo Alvarez said Tank Davis is his favorite fighter. So Canelo Alvarez, there's got to be something that he's seen when it comes to Tank Davis. Canelo Alvarez favors Tank Davis in that fight with Garcia. Now, this isn't a matter of Canelo being spiteful, hating on Ryan Garcia. Canelo, out of everyone involved in these conversations, has had a peek behind the tent flaps to really understand what Ryan Garcia is about when it comes to training. Now, the thing is this. There may be some jabs that are going on from Canelo to Ryan, Ryan to Canelo. But I'm just going to go with what Canelo said, because I think Canelo is really going to be the most genuine, although he may be a little annoyed by Ryan. I think he's going to be the most genuine. Now, he went on and said that Ryan Garcia is still one of the best fighters in the world. But see, the thing is this. Canelo knows the good and bad habits of Ryan Garcia, especially those training habits. He got to see it firsthand because, remember, they were stablemates for a while. If you look at Eddie Reynoso's gym back then, they were on a great streak, man. There was a really, really good streak going on inside that gym. Back-to-back knockouts, the best win over Ryan Garcia's career. You know, getting Luke Campbell out of there after a serious scare with that vicious looping left hand Campbell caught him with. And that wasn't just a matter of Ryan Garcia losing his balance. Ryan Garcia's eyes were in the back of his head. His tongue was hanging out his mouth when he hit that ground. His damn arm was folded behind his back. That was a serious knockdown. He was hurt, but he responded the way he was supposed to. So you got to give him credit for that. Then Ryan Garcia, after he survives that, all the mental health issues come back, fights Tagao with a new trainer, Joe Goosen, changing training camps, and unfortunately he just didn't look as good as he did before that fight went the distance with Tagao. Now, if you look at the resume, as far as Ryan Garcia was doing everything right, but, you know, it's got to be twisted around a little bit now, okay? Because he goes from, you know, stepping up his competition at the right time, getting the good wins, having mental health issues, and coming back having to reset. Gets a win over Tagao, gets a win over Fortuna. Fortuna wasn't in shape for that fight. Fortuna just took the money. Fortuna is not a good measuring stick on how Ryan would do against Tank Davis because Fortuna's left-handed. Let's not take it to the stupid. Hold your horses, okay? Just because Ryan fought a left-handed fighter doesn't mean that, oh, he's ready for Tank. So that's where I think where people are getting things twisted. And they need to stop and really be honest about Ryan Garcia getting in there with a monster like Tank. So you look at Tank Davis, right? 27 years old, and he just has the style, man, to give Garcia problems. He has the style to give him a whole lot of problems. We talk about the resume with Tank, you know. He could use a few bigger names, but he's fighting stiff competition, so you got to give him that. But he's still a beast, southpaw power puncher, relentless, and those angles that Tank uses. Amazing angles, especially that left hand, man. It's just, he hits you with that left hand whenever he wants to. And he can throw it with speed, he can throw it with power, he can loop it. I mean, however he wants to throw it, he can get it, he can get it off. And there's nothing that anybody can do. And he's a shorter guy who can fight on the inside, and he's a very good inside fighter as well as outside fighter as well as boxer. So he just, when it comes to closing the gap in those short distances, a person's in trouble, especially with that damn Tank left uppercut. That left uppercut is a problem. So when he's being described as a Tank, it's perfectly suited for him. But I think the outcome with Tank and Ryan Garcia would just be Tank running over him, man. I say under 3, but let's just say 6 rounds. But I say under 3 because once Tank touches him, it's over, man. Now, 2 fights ago, Tank had his hands full against Isaac Cruz. But Cruz is short. He's a strong power puncher. And Cruz was able to get on the inside. Cruz is a difficult fight for anyone. Cruz beats almost everybody. He almost got Tank out of there. Tank said he was fighting with one hand, which it did look like he was really limited to just one hand. But at the end of the day, Isaac Cruz can bang. So can Tank, but Tank wasn't able to. And he barely kept Isaac Cruz off of him. But Tank, he has good footwork. Okay? This is what I'm saying. Tank has very good footwork, very good IQ. Ryan Garcia doesn't have the footwork. Tank has very good head movement, very good lateral movement. Ryan Garcia has no head movement, has no lateral movement. Tank has speed, power, and he has precision. Garcia has more speed. He got some power, but not Tank power. So when you just think about the fact that when it comes to Tank Davis and what he's bringing to the ring, timing, speed, and power, that's going to always overcome Ryan Garcia and his speed alone, right? And I just don't think Ryan Garcia, after fighting as an amateur for so long and a professional for so long, that he can fix those bad habits of keeping his hands down, keeping his chin in the air, and not being able to use his feet to move around the ring and be light on his feet. He tries to come forward as a power puncher and lunge in, and he depends on his speed too much. And that's just not going to work against somebody who can time you, who's used to fighting taller fighters, and you have your chin in the air. It's just not going to work against a guy like Tank Davis. Ryan Garcia won't see the punch coming. Now, Rolly Romero is slightly taller than Tank, and he was able to do pretty well. But I think that's because Tank knew, because he felt that power, And he said, let me just sit back and be cautious. And he knew that the opportunity at some point would present itself to clip Rolly. I like Rolly. And I was very impressed with his performance. And it looked like Rolly was going to pull it off. I was like, damn, he's winning the fight. But, he got greedy. And, and he got fed a serious shot. And unfortunately, he got knocked out. But he didn't have the experience. And once Tank was able to close the distance after being patient, we all saw what happened. And he knocked him out. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Garcia. Garcia may get a false sense of comfort because Tank is moving around the ring. He's just taking his time, and Garcia is going to be stupid and jump in and lunge and do something foolish. Tank's going to time him. He's going to slip. He's going to counter him with something hard, and Garcia is not going to be able to recover. So in that fight, though, I'll point this out with Tank and Rolly. They both got hurt in that fight. So even Tank got hurt in that fight by Rolly. But it's going to be exciting to see what happens with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, because you can't compare the maturity and ring experience that Tank has to what Ryan Garcia brings to the table. There's no comparison. So, like I said, I think within 3 rounds, but I give Ryan Garcia 6, but I think it can be as early as 3 rounds that Tank Davis will knock him out. You just can't rely on speed alone. You think about just, Danny Garcia and Amir Khan, okay? Now, that's a classic example of power clipping somebody with speed. You look at how fast Shane Mosley's hands were, okay? He got in there and struggled with Miguel Cotto. And this is when they were both kind of in their primes. You look at Zab Judah with Miguel Cotto again. Somebody who's just timing you and just, coming along and just getting his hands off, getting his shots off. So you got these fighters with a whole lot of speed. Like, we'll even talk about Floyd Mayweather in that first Maidana fight. Floyd, all that speed. But Maidana was able to just, with his quirkiness and being aggressive, but there's also some timing behind that. You kind of know when to throw the jab, how to throw the jab, when to throw that right hand, how to bring it over the top. So there were a multitude of things that, Robert Garcia worked on in the training camp with Maidana to blunt the speed of Floyd Mayweather. It worked. The thing is, Ryan Garcia and Joe Goossen, I just don't see them developing that kind of game plan. With all the fighters Joe Goossen has worked with, you never seen Joe Goossen's fighters be able to come in there and really counteract somebody with speed, precision. That's just not it. I'm not sure what Joe Goossen, who he's really developed aside from really Diego Corrales. Outside of Diego Corrales, who or what is Joe Goossen known for? He's worked with a lot of different fighters, but as far as building somebody from the ground up, who? I just don't see it. And when you have Ryan Garcia coming in and wanting to dictate kind of how things are going to go in training and have a voice, and him and Joe work together, I think Joe just says, you know what, man, this is an easy assignment for me. I got a kid who knows it all. I'm not going to tell him he doesn't because I'm getting a nice check. I'll point out some things, but if he wants to do it his way, I'll let him do it his way. And if he's successful, I'll say it was all him. If he falls on his face, I'll say it was all him. And I just think Joe Goossen is setting Ryan Garcia up for a serious wake-up call, because you got that. I'm not saying he can't have conversations. You can't talk. The fighter can't talk about what he's seeing and what he's not seeing, but the fighter can't come in there and develop the damn strategy. I just don't agree with that. Okay, so Tank Davis, in my opinion, is going to clip Ryan Garcia. You talk about the Meldrick Taylor and Chavez, man. Meldrick Taylor was outboxing him, outworking him, but Chavez was just getting to him little by little. Then once fatigue sets in, all that speed and shit starts to go out the window. You understand? And the other guy had a better engine and plodding along, power puncher, eventually get to you. And that's what happened to Meldrick Taylor. Yeah, they could have let the fight finish with a few seconds left. But all that speed and all that shit went out the window when the fatigue set in. Zab Judah and Costa Zoo. Zab Judah looked amazing. But in that second round, things started shifting. Not just the knockout punch. You could see some things started changing a bit. Zab Judah wasn't looking as great as he was in that first round. Some things started to change. It was that timing and power of Costa Zoo. Then eventually, Zab going straight back, timing. It wasn't anything spectacular about the shot. It's just timing. Okay? So don't sit here and talk to me about all the speed. And I'm big on speed. Speed kills. But when speed alone is going against timing, speed, and power, speed loses. And that's how I see it. But I'll leave it as that, man. You guys like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to the veterans. Hey, let's not be foolish here. Ryan Garcia stands no chance against Tank Davis. I don't care what he does in his training camp, who he brings in. He's just not going to remedy those bad habits that he has. And I don't see him being able to make too many improvements. He's young, so normally I would say he can. But because he's a know-it-all, and he wants to develop strategy, and he wants to go back and forth with the trainer and tell the trainer, no, you're wrong, this is what I'm seeing. I just think that's a horrible, horrible, horrible quality to have as a fighter. I just think that's horrible. And I think that is going to ultimately cost Ryan Garcia a huge loss. And it may not be because it come from Tank Davis. It may come from whoever his next fight is if he doesn't get Tank. And I'll tell you this, if Ryan Garcia is looking to get in there with Teofimo Lopez, he better think twice, man. Because if people are looking at Teofimo Lopez fight against, what's his name, Kambosos, and thinking this is what we're going to get, no, I don't think so. I'm going to say, let's see how Teofimo looks at 140. And then after that, then I'll probably comment more. But I just don't think Ryan Garcia beats Teofimo either. Teofimo's not going to get in and fight stupid again. He learned from that. That messed with his energy, man. He shouldn't have lost that fight. He fought stupid, right? All emotion. And his dad in the corner. Go kick his butt. That's the advice he was giving him. He had no guidance from his corner, and he went out there and fought off emotion. He got beat down by the counterpuncher. Timing, speed, decent power. And Kambosos shut him down. And Teofimo had better timing, better speed, and more power. And he couldn't beat him because he didn't utilize any of that. And Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, I already gave my opinion on it. I really don't think Ryan Garcia stands a chance. But that being said, like and subscribe. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. I appreciate the support. Subscribe. And I'm in the breeze.